Okay, I'm back, y'all. Peace to all my king smokers and my queen smokers. Peace to you all. And once I get all this shit together, I am gonna have like a intro because I hear this music in my head that sound fire for an intro and shit. But neither here there. The title of this video is called "Don't Trust No Bitch." Okay, I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible. All right. In the first video, I did say I have two kids. My son is 12. My daughter will be 20 this year. Two different baby daddies, 8 years apart. My son's father is the one that we're going to be focusing on this video for today. We're going to just go no name, non factorized nigga. That's his name. Neither here there. We were together for about 3 years actually, and we had our son in 2009. We actually worked together at that time. This was the first man that I ever lived with. We were actually together a year before I got pregnant with our son. Mind you, protection was being used. At one time, we didn't use protection, and he says, "Oh, I want you to have my baby. I get pregnant." Okay, whatever. I'm in love with this man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I love him. Willing to do anything for him. We both working. He's working 12-hour shifts. At this time, I'm damn near working 12-hour shifts because I was working for the city and they're actually the state, and he was actually working for a factory. So it all worked out. We would actually see each other in the evening, but in the morning we would kind of miss each other because he'd leave out before me, whatever. While he's at this job that I actually helped him get, because we actually met doing while I was doing security. Okay, let's go back there. We met while I was doing security and at a grocery store, and he was a stocker at the grocery store. So that's how we met. After a couple of months of flirting and everything, we started talking and things. One thing led to another. We kind of decided to just build, get this apartment together. First time I ever did that with somebody like, whoa, this might be the one. At the time, I think I'm like 26, 27 years old. Right before that, I was in a relationship with my daughter's father. That was about 10 years, but we had dispersed. So I had time to get with my son's father within that year and a half because I was single for a while before I met him. Okay, so we had this beautiful little boy, awesome, 2009, January of 2009. Awesome. It was the first couple of weeks was really good. Then he started acting a little funny. Now, before all of this, our relationship was really good. I don't really recall any major things happening, but after I had or got pregnant, things started kind of occurring like where he wouldn't come home. That's crazy to me. Like, why wouldn't you come somewhere where you're paying bills at? But I guess he felt as though because he was paying bills, he could do what he wanted to do. Okay, cool. I would ask him, he'd tell me, hey, he buys people house. In my head, I'm like, okay, this may be a lie. I didn't want to force it. So I'm like, okay. And he is one of the men that I dealt with that taught me not to dwell on things, just say how you feel, which is what I do currently, thanks to him. So one particular night, New Year's Eve, he doesn't come home. He didn't come home for 2 days. So I actually go out with a friend of mine. I come back home. He's actually there. We get into it. I pack his shit up. He leaves. I was only at the apartment for a couple of months. I was able to handle the bills. But again, we were splitting everything. If I would have managed my money better, I would have been able to stay there. But because I'm sitting up here all broken hearted, I'm like, what the fuck? This motherfucker then left us and all this shit. Mind you, I still had my daughter as well, but I was going through a custody battle with her father at this time. And my son's father knew that. And not only going through a custody battle, but my grandfather was dying. And we actually had the funeral 2011, which was the last day that I actually seen my son's father. And that was because he actually had my son for the funeral or whatnot, so I can go to the funeral and everything. So I go pick up my son that day or whatever. Mind you, at this time we on parted ways. This is 2011 now, but we were together since 2000, late 2007, going into 2008. Had our son 2009, all that good stuff. So So anyway, go and pick up my son. I give his father a letter. The letter is basically just letting him know how much I love him. I thought we was just gonna make it. If you ever want to talk about something, just let me know. I'm pretty sure I didn't come at this man disrespectful in this letter. And I do remember a conversation we had about child support before we even parted ways. And I was actually telling him how I actually just cut off the child support for my daughter with her father. So I'm like, so we just have joint custody or whatever. But that backfired on me because that man chose to take me back and forth to court. So all I was trying to do was have an open dialogue with my son's father so I wouldn't have to go through that type of turmoil anymore. Coming to find out, we after I picked up my son from him that day in 2011, I didn't hear from this man for several years. I would see him throughout the city. He would move back and forth through Chicago and Milwaukee. He had plenty brothers and sisters here, unbeknownst to me. They probably knew who I was. I didn't know who they were. He had several baby mamas. He had several other kids out here. Um, we had a court date probably in like 2013, maybe 2014, where I actually found out that my son, that I had our son together, was his eighth child out of 13 at that time. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how did I not know this man? And I was literally sleeping with you. We share the same house. I'm cooking for you. We having fun together, but you have a whole different life I didn't know about. He never told me he had that many children. And this is the honest truth. Like, when he told me he had 5 kids, and to me, that was a lot. But I'm like, okay, maybe, you know what I'm saying? And at the time, I wasn't mentally strong enough to actually put two and two together like I am now. And I'm still learning. But neither here nor there. I know more now than I did then. His brother does hair. Well, one of his brothers does hair. So I would see his brother throughout traffic at some point a couple years ago, not even that long ago, but his brother was doing my son and I hair. He would cut my son up and cut my hair as well as style it for me. I would ask for his information from his brother. He would give it to me. I would reach out. We did have a conversation um, while I was actually where I'm at now. And I've actually been where I'm at now for almost 10 years. So we did have a conversation within that time period where I'm at now. But I can guarantee you before that, and I still have the messages via Facebook from 2014 where I'm in between houses. I don't have nowhere to stay with my kids. I'm between my mom's house and my grandmother's house. But I'm talking to this man, letting him know that, hey, your son do want to see you. Our time is spent, but you know, he do want to see you. And he bringing up shit from the past or whatever. Let's just fast forward to Monday. So I actually talked to this man as of yesterday. My father was around. I had to actually calm my ass down because even though we talked yesterday, we actually had a decent conversation on Wednesday. Very valid conversation. I'm thinking like, hey, this might happen. He might end up seeing his son because he want his son to know his brothers and sisters and all this other type of stuff. So I'm like, this is fucking perfect. We was some other things discussed. He tried to bring up the past. I'm like, hey, I'm not with the shits. All I want to do is make this happen with your son. Make sure y'all have a good relationship, a good bond, because y'all both deserve that. It's more so him. You know what I'm saying? And because he do. So anyway, Saturday comes. I ain't gonna lie. I was a little impulsive and I probably shouldn't have done this, but I did send him a voice text and just basically told him, like, hey, I thought I was gonna hear from you. You could have told me what was going on. Um, Let me know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to do this, that's fine. And I said I did mention him um acting like a bitch, but I didn't call him a bitch. Okay. So anyway, lo and behold, he gets the message. He calls. I'm like, okay, whatever. He snaps off. I'm all kind of like evil, vindictive people. I kept his son away from him. I went and filed child support on him. And to my knowledge, I had nothing to do with that because he was the one who was working. You know what I'm saying? Once he started by working, the city found out, boom, you want child support. I didn't have a reason to go down there. You got enough kids for them to find out what's going on. That didn't have nothing to do with me. He feels like it does. For some reason, he's really stuck on that. And by the end of the conversation, I was really, I kind of felt defeated, but I had to like, my dad had to tell me like, don't do that to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Beat me and my dad. We actually had a discussion about the same thing because my dad wasn't in my life until really his wife passed away. And my whole thing about my son's father is that I literally tried to have a decent conversation with him, and it went left. It did. I did call him a deadbeat, and you could have reached out to your son. I've had the same number, literally cell phone number, for almost 10 years. Even going back to the messages of 2014, I even sent him the same exact phone number that I have now. So that just goes to show, like, you didn't even try to reach out. You weren't even thinking about us. It wasn't even a thought. And not saying us like my son and I'm saying like the relationship that we had that produced that son, because we had a beautiful relationship. At least I thought that we did. But after things were said, I said, "Oh, what is going on here?" And then he says, "I don't trust you." That's fine, but he'll be eating those words because I didn't never give him a reason not to. Um, so my last thing was, is there anything else you would like to say to me? He says, "Don't trust no bitch." Really? Okay. My thing is, I should have never trusted him. But things happen. We all fall into a trap at some point, especially when we blinded by love, quote unquote. We feel it's love at that time in life because we're still growing as people mentally and spiritually, um, in regards to knowing what we want in our life and what we see as our life, what we see as love, and what we know to be love to us. And as we start to grow and um, mature and just be more knowledgeable about things, we tend to be like, oh, okay, well, I want to add that to my list of how I want to be loved and shit. And that's where the love languages come in. And I feel like that's a very valid thing, um, to focus on, especially if you want love in your life and a certain type of love. You need to know what type of love you have for yourself, and that all goes back to loving yourself. And that's why I say this is so crazy, because I didn't think this was close. I was gonna say this, but it's a full circle because what he said to me just proves to me that I've grown. He's still stuck in the past, clearly, because I'm not trying to have no ill feelings towards this man. But for what he said to me, he want me to be angry. He want me to act out, and I never was that type of person. Even when we were together. That never was me. Like, I'm not the shit that's gonna burn your shit or bleach your shit. I'm just gonna leave your ass the fuck alone. I'm gonna give you what we exchanged in a relationship. You can actually have that shit because I want you to remember my black eyes. I don't have no reason to be mad, especially from the situation yesterday. I could be. I was more hurt than anything. I'm like, damn, I actually love this person. Like, I literally remember waiting on him to come home at night when he was getting off work. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, there would be some nights that he'd come home and it'd be awesome. And then it'd be other nights where I'd be waiting. He wouldn't even show. It'd be the following morning and shit. Like, but you work in the morning. Yeah, it's crazy. And that's why I said, like, we all go through things in life, and I don't think people really understand, like, the magnitude that they serve in that space. You know what I'm saying? When you enter someone's life, because what he said to me, like, I'm telling you, like, I wish I could have recorded that conversation, because it allowed me to just realize, like, it's so. And even though you know stuff to be true, um, these braids are new, so they popping, like, whatever, like that. But that two people who look at the same statue can see two different things. They have two different perspectives, but they're looking at the same exact statue. That's how I feel with this relationship with both of my kids' fathers, particularly the one we're talking about today, the nun factor. my son's father. Um, we were in the same relationship. I don't think he realizes that some of the things he said actually happened with another woman, because it definitely didn't happen with me. I can literally sit up and remember nights that he would have other women dropping him off from work. Um, Me being the reason why I able to go get him, maybe my car was down, because I've always had a vehicle. So maybe my car was down. Maybe he didn't want me coming out there, to pick him up because it was kind of far, and he would get off at night because he would be like 6 weeks or 6 months, like 5 to 5 in the morning to 5 in the evening, and then 6 months 5 in the evening to 5 in the morning. They switched up like that. But I remember this particular night I was partying as fuck with our son, and I go to the front to sneak and smoke a cigarette because I told him I quit smoking. And he pulls up in the car with a whole nother chick and dropping him off from work. And I'm like, who is this? He's like, oh, that's my coworker. But coming to find out, this is the same coworker that when we stopped talking, he goes and marries her. So that's why I say, like, things that this man said to me on yesterday, it didn't do nothing but solidify the things that I felt I knew about him already. He's a narcissist. Clearly, he still has feelings for me. And three, he don't want to see his son. He talked all that good shit just to say, tell me through text, don't ever call or text me ever again. And I did have one other thing to say, and it wasn't no disrespectful or anything. I just wanted to tell him that he is a narcissist, and it's sad that you said all of that for me to big up you with our son, just for you to let him down again. He even made comments about going to see his son through my mom, and that didn't even happen. Not even through my grandmother. It would be days, and he'd say he coming, and he wouldn't even show up. So, like I said, maybe he had. Well, I ain't gonna say maybe. I'm not gonna take away from what he feels his experiences were with me, but it's really amazing how he feels he can take away my experiences, the ones I had with him, and make it seem like my shit isn't valid, but his is. I just don't understand that. But it's not for me too, and everything we can't wrap our head around, and everything is not meant to be understood. So you gotta let it go and let it be. So with that being said, I just want to let everyone know out there: be careful how you treat people. Be careful what you recall to people, because you have to make sure that that's some valid shit. You know what I'm saying? Because even though he walking around here saying, don't trust no bitch, I don't trust no nigga, you know? And to me, there's a difference. You got the hood, and then you got the man. And ain't nothing wrong with having both. It's a mixture. But when you only got one that's only focusing on one side of the tracks, and they not even thinking about the other thing, like clearly you in a world of yourself. And it's okay to be in your own bubble, but you actually have to realize there's other people around you as well, either outside that bubble or in that bubble with you. And you have to know how to manage both. Um, and again, I'm a woman who's actually still learning. And this is a community for everyone. So jump on board, like and subscribe to the channel, fuck with me, so we can go ahead and talk about all this shit together. Spark up, roll up, blow up, black smoke, and peace.